Сайн байцгаана уу хүнд үзэгчдээ. Өнөөдөр манай de facto нэвтрүүлгийн зочноор Эстони улсын ерөнхий сайд ноён Таави Рõivas оролцож байна.
Умард Европт оршдог Балтийн 3 орны нэг Эстони улс юм. Албан ёсны Бүгд Найрамдах Эстони улс гэгдэх бөгөөд нийслэл нь таллын хотоо. Эстончуудын эстони хэл улсынхан цор ганц. Албан ёсны хэл болно. Урд талаараа латив, зүүн талаараа орос улстай хэлэлдэг. Балтийн тэнгисийн цаана өрн зүгт Швед, умар зүгт Финлянд хоёр улс Эстонд илүү ойр байрлалтай. Газар нутаг нь 45227 км² бөгөөд дэлхийд томоороо 132 дугаарт жигсдэг. 2011 оны тоолгоор 1.3 сая орчим хүн амтай гэж бүртгэгдсэн 1 км²-д 29 хүн оногддог. Газар нутаг хүн амын тоогоор харьцангуй жижиг улсад тооцогддог байна. Сүүлийн 100 жилийн түүхийг сөхвөл Эстони улс нь хаант Оросыг мөхсөний дараа 1918 онд тусгаар тогтнолоо зарласан хөрш улсуудаа эзлэгдэх шахаж 20-од жил тусгаар байсны эцэст дэлхийн 2 дугаар дайны дараа зөвлөлт холбоот улсын бүрэлдэхүүнд орж 15 бүгд найрамдах улсын нэг болсон хэдий ч 1991 онд зөвлөлт холбоот улс бутрахад ахин тусгаар тогтносон юм а. Нэг хүнд ноогдох дотоодын нийт бүтээгдэхүүн 17300 Америк доллар буюу хөгжиж буй орнуудын дотроос хамгийн өндөр үзүүлэлттэй байгаамаа. 1991 оноос хойш чөлөөт зах зээлийг улс орондоо хэрэгжүүлж эхэлсэн. Өнөөдөр нийт хүн амынх нь 90% нь зөөврийн компьютер хэрэглэдэг. Улс төрийн сонгуулаа интернетээр өгдөг цөөхөн хөгжиж буй улсын нэг бөгөөд Эстониг e-Estonia буюу захим улс хэмээн нэрийддэг байна. 2009 оны Heritage Foundation-ы эдийн засгийн эрх чөлөөний индексээр 13 дугаар байранд орсон эдийн засаг нь хэр их либерал байгааг илтгэж байгаамаа.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to Mongolia.
Thank you very much.
You know, yesterday online, the whole media says that you are the youngest Prime Minister, youngest leader of the country, not only in European Union, but also in Assam here too. Welcome to Mongolia.
Thank you very much. And that's as a fact is correct. And of course, I talked to the president of Mongolia, and he said that when he first became prime minister, he was about the same age as I was.
But I remember that time Mongolia had a lot of young leaders. Now they are becoming mature as well as a democracy, I hope. And I have a few questions about your country because the similarity, the strength, the location of your country is very much appealing to Mongolians. I have been visiting myself several times, and I really stand with that similarities, in particular with the stamina that you have, that we can use, we can take from you in Mongolia. So please tell us what makes that economic boom in economic differences so fast in Estonia.
Well, the great thing is that both of our countries became democracies without any bloodshed, without any need for revolution, and that's a very, very positive thing. And this is the cornerstone of economic development as well. And Estonia has been again re-independent for 25 years now, and during that time we have had very good economic progress. I think the biggest secret behind that is that we wanted to get as far as possible from the planned economy that was there in the Soviet Union. So we introduced reforms that created this kind of free market economy environment in Estonia, and you might say that Estonian economy is much more free than most European countries. So that has been also the cornerstone of our economic success.
Yeah, but there is something that made Estonia different than your neighbor countries, other pre-Baltic Baltic Sea countries. But what are these changes? I understand it is you have taken over this digital economy faster. You made this e-signature. What was the cornerstone of this whole change? It is this digital platform, or it's will of the people? What is your take on that?
Back in 2000, which is 16 years ago, the Estonian government introduced this kind of digital identity, which technologically can be in different ways handled, but the main essence is that every citizen of Estonia has a mandatory document, not a passport. Passport is optional, but the mandatory ID card that can be used also digitally with a chip and with a PIN code. And once you have a digital identity which is secure for all citizens, you can be sure that on the other side of internet, so to say, the citizen is really the person he claims to be. And with this, you can provide all kinds of services digitally.
Confirmation of identification.
Exactly. So actually in Estonia, most of the services are handled this way, also public services, but private services as well, are handled this way that the citizen doesn't have to go anywhere, like in state office or even bank office. You do everything online. And this, of course, saves us a lot of time and money.
Including your cabinet meeting.
Including, well, cabinet meeting we still meet, but of course my signatures. For example, yesterday, as the international situation right now is quite difficult,
yes.
Our foreign minister decided to postpone her vacation. I signed this order right here in Mongolia using my digital signature, connecting via internet. So this can be done, and this saves me huge amount of time, because I would travel back in 2 days. You know, the application would wait for days before getting signature. But in Estonia, it's possible to sign it digitally, so I can do it right here.
I was so astonished with the way how you have organized this e-signature and confirmation. And I understand, do you have your ID with you?
Yes, I have my ID card
Okay.
there, but actually I use, now we have this more modern version even, which is mobile ID. So everybody has in their mobile phones SIM cards.
Yes.
And in Estonia, the SIM cards have this additional feature. There's slightly more than only for calling. This is the cryptographic key to your signature, and in your head you have your PIN codes. So this altogether combines to this kind of quite long cryptographic key, which can be your signature.
So in a way, your cell phone number is a part of your identity.
Not cell phone number, but the SIM card has,
see.
in addition to my phone data,
Yes.
the SIM cards we produce are a little bit in addition, and so that there is a digital key.
And that's why the SIM card, along with the phone number from provider, but still you go to the police department to have this particular number.
Exactly. This is because we want the state to authorize the identity. You show your document once, they make sure that this is you, and after that you are free to use it as a digital identity.
And you have been organizing election, voting, without any boxes, centers, how it happens, and when and how.
Well, as you have a digital login, which is much more secure than password, you can do also elections with it. And this means that people in Estonia log into the web page of electorate authority with their computer. They identify them via using their mobile phone or by using the ID card, and they can automatically elect. The candidates will appear, and they can select the candidate and vote. So, you know, imagine what this could be in Mongolia, where the distances are very, very big, and I know that you also are using some kinds of digital solutions, and I think this is a way to go. But also in Estonia, we have some people who live tens of kilometers from the next center, and it's so much easier for them to vote this way.
You made e-society, you made e-governance. By that efficiency, now you are an exemplary case of European Union, and I have seen it. I'm very proud of you and what you have done. I saw also your e-medical data, and everything. If people want, they can. If the authorized agencies want to know about you, you know it. But what was stunning for me, very interesting, was you can backtrack who is taking your data.
Yeah.
It's very important.
The reason for that is that in Estonia we have 19 hospitals, and if you, as a patient, regularly go to one hospital, and then for some reason you need to go to another one in other side of Estonia, then usually you don't carry your own medical file on paper with you. That simply doesn't happen. So the hospital you usually don't go and now have to go doesn't know anything about you, doesn't know even your blood group, doesn't know your diagnosis. So, and that's a big problem because they need to do all the analysis over and over again. Now in Estonia we have introduced this kind of system that all hospitals enter the information about the patient to a central information base, and you as a patient are in charge of that information. So you decide, this information I don't allow any other doctor to see, only my doctor who has entered this information, but this information, because it's, let's say, chronic disease that has some importance or emergency, or my blood group, or this kind of innocent data, this is information that I make available for everybody. Not everybody, but all the doctors if they have a need to see. And if the doctors look at your data, then they must have a reason. So just in theory, any doctor can check your data, but if they do it without any reason, you as a citizen can claim that I filed charges because he or she didn't have any reason to look at my data.
That's the way, digital way of protecting your rights, right? Your privacy. Exactly. That was very amazing, I think, the solutions. I have another few questions on your, certainly, you have a 2 times less population than Mongolia, way smaller land. However, you have per capita about $25,000 per capita GDP income, which is quite impressive. And what are the top economic challenges you are facing as Prime Minister today?
Well, Estonia has, since medieval times, been very much into trading. So as a small country, as a small economy, we understand that the only way to become richer is to have trade with other countries. So this is one secret. The other secret is that those countries who have centuries of continuous democracy, they have also, so to say, old money they can inherit from their parents, grandparents. They build factories for 200 years and inherit them from one generation to another. This, unfortunately, has not been possible in Estonia. So in order to catch up economically, we need to invest in sectors where the progress is very fast. And digital has been one of those sectors, because you can go global if your solution is very good. You can go global with digital solution much faster than, let's say, steel production. Because in steel production, you need to build.
So you kind of overleaped the typical industry.
Exactly.
And you are now in the knowledge industry.
Offering digital services, and that's why Estonia has several startups that have become very successful. The first Estonian startup that became a big hit was Skype.
Which we use every day.
Exactly, and Skype was founded in Estonia by 4 people, and this company was sold to Microsoft for $8.5 billion. So you can imagine how much people believed in. This was created in Estonia, and we can do it. So, and now the next unicorns have already emerged. One is TransferWise, an Estonian founded company just a few years ago. It was founded, and with that you can transfer Tugrik from here to, let's say, British pound in London with much less transfer fees than the banks claim. So 10 times cheaper. And this kind of technical solution created by Estonian company and worth a lot of money. So this, coming from 0 to 1 billion is not possible with traditional industry in such a short time.
And I was also impressed, and I think I understand it logically why, that you are always working on the trend of the future of the world, of the economy, and you have a fantastic system of education. how important in your transformation the education and higher education?
I fully agree that education is of course the basis for development, and if you want to have an economy that's very much knowledge based, the education level has to be good. This is something that used to be in Estonia good already tens of years ago, so that has a continuous development. But we have continuously invested in education, and according to the PISA study, which compares all the countries in the world, they say that Estonia is ranking top 11. So that's we have almost 200 countries in the world, and Estonia, as a small country, being top 11 is something we are very, very proud of. And this is a secondary education mainly. Now, in terms of universities, again, Estonia tends to be strong in technical fields and also medicine. So ICT, of course. So if you invest continuously in those things, that starts to pay off. Of course, education is this investment that takes time to get a return. But on the other hand, this is the best place you can put your money in. And I have spoken to some Mongolian people who have told me that they introduced me to their children and said that they have an ambition to send them to the best university they can afford. And I said to them that I think this is the very wise thing for a parent to do. If you have a possibility to provide your children good education, this is something you should do.
You have graduated yourself from one of the oldest universities in Europe, University of Tartu. You have a professional economics and the marketing background. How do you see the role of the government in the market economy?
Well, government is a provider of the rules in a marketplace. Government, in my opinion, should not be an actor itself or like selling or buying in the market, but just creating the marketplace so that all the companies can come, everybody's conditions are equal, and let the competition take care of the situation. That's the best way to do it. So our ambition is to have good rules, not too much bureaucracy, very affordable and attractive tax system, and if this is in place, the companies themselves can do the business.
Role of the government, including you have been yourself also the youngest minister of your country when you were the minister for social affairs 2 years ago. And when we talk about the role of the government being not major player but the regulator of the economy, then the issues come, like in any country as well as in Mongolia, the issue of social, health care, all these issues. How do you consider that part?
Well, in Europe usually we tend to have a rather a strong social system, so that even though we don't want to have high taxes, but we want to provide good conditions for those who for some reason cannot work. So investing in social affairs has been something that in Europe in general has been thought to be important.
What's the rate of GDP rate for education and for social care?
Well, social care is definitely higher. Education is about, I would say, close to less than 10%, but social care, of course, if you count pensions and everything, that is much higher.
So major cost is social care?
Yes, that's true. But of course, on the other hand, in Estonia, people during their work life, they make contributions themselves to the social system. They pay for it, and then when they are retired, they can get the money back.
Do you allow private pension system?
Yes, we have part of the Estonian system private. So everybody has the solidarity pension, and you every month you invest a couple of percent of your 2% goes. So that you need to do it, and then the state puts 4% of your salary extra to this contribution. But if you as a citizen want to invest, let's say 10% of your income every month, and later on use it as private pension, this is possible. Yes.
Few questions on Asia and Europe. So you are at ASEM here in Mongolia. How do you see the role of ASEM?
Well, ASEM is a wonderful grounds for countries to also have bilateral talks. Of course, ASEM is all about forum and all about Asia and Europe becoming closer and understanding each other better and discussing issues. But ASEM is very, very important also for Estonia, getting bilateral contacts with countries like Mongolia, Singapore, China, and so on. So in Europe, leaders meet every month. We have the European EU Council, we meet there, but to meet Asian leaders, every once a year or twice in 2 years, this is a very, very good opportunity.
Are Estonians happy about the European Union, and in particular after Brexit and all this happening?
Well, I think after Brexit, in most European countries, the popularity of European Union went up because everybody also in Asian economic news are talking about the negative impact of Brexit, and now everybody understands that inside EU is actually more favorable for European countries. But in Estonia, we have enjoyed a very, very high support for EU for quite some time. We are one of the biggest supporters, so 80% of Estonian people support EU.
With migration issue, I remember last year, I think in October, when I was there was a small group protesting against the refugee, the quota system. What is the situation now? What's the mood?
Well, I think in all of Europe, we were quite afraid last year what was going to happen if millions and millions of people continue to come from war zones, and whether we can take care of it properly, and what kind of tensions it will raise in the societies. But today, I think, first of all, we have proved that we have been able to take care of the situation by offering the people who are running from war and terror, offering them shelter, offering them education. And secondly, of course, the pressure has gone down a bit, and a big part of it is because of the agreement with Turkey.
Well, speaking about Turkey and speaking about European security and the issue of NATO, Russia is not happy, NATO coming close to Russia, and the other side are not happy with Ukraine, all these issues. What's your stand on that?
Well, I think NATO is and will be a collective union which will defend each and every member when necessary. And also, if NATO wants to be present at all of its territories, I think this is only logical. So NATO is not having an ambition to be outside its territories. It's only inside its own territory, and nobody should be upset about it. And now on Ukraine, I think it's clear that every country in Europe or Asia has the right to be a sovereign country. So does Ukraine. And in my opinion, Russia has clearly intervened in their sovereignty, and thus European Union and US have introduced the sanctions to send a clear message that Russia should pull back and let Ukrainians be a sovereign country again.
On the last question, only a few words about Estonia, Mongolia, and the relationship, where we can go better, faster, maybe more fruitfully on two sides.
Well, I'm very glad that this ASEM that has been wonderfully organized by Mongolia. I'm really impressed that this has provided me opportunity to meet Mongolian leaders such as President, such as the newly elected Prime Minister, and we have discussed the bilateral issues on ICT, on oil shale, where you have remarkable reserves, and Estonia has currently the most modern technology in the world to exploit oil shale.
Indeed.
And even though I'm a little bit sad that the events, very tragic events in Nice, in Turkey, have taken some attention away from our summit here, this has been a remarkable opportunity for us to get together as European and Asian leaders, and also to get to know Mongolia as a very interesting country that has lifestyle that for me as European is very exotic and very interesting.
So in Mongolia there could be more ICT, e-governance, a lot, in particular this e-voting, all this, so many things to learn. I keep writing about that, and I really so happy to see you here. My last question on, you are the political star of the country. Your wife is a popular star in the pop singer. So how do these two stars work together? Is it easy? How is it?
Well, it's a lot of attention for sure, but I think it makes easier to understand each other, because before we met, she didn't know who I was. I was still member of parliament, and she was just at her first steps in becoming popular, and we have been growing together, and we understand each other, what it is like to be always in the spotlight, and thus when we are together, then there is, as my daughter says, at home you are no prime minister, you are daddy. And this is something that you should keep in mind, that those offices come and go, but as a person you need to stay human and be a good person.
Well, let these two stars co-shine together, and I think it's good for your country and for the world as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you, Prime Minister. хүндэтгэгчтэй өнөөдөр манай дефакто нэвтрүүлгийн зочноор Эстони улсын ерөнхий сайд Рõivas оролцлоо. Баярлалаа.